Even though eating enough protein seems like a trivial task at the first glance, there is a bunch of very important information that a lot of people don't know about. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are giving it your all in the gym and also in the kitchen, then you of course want to make sure that your efforts are not being wasted, right? Awesome, then let's get it started. The first thing we need to discuss is how much protein you should consume per day. I'm sure that you heard that you need to consume 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, which is what I always recommend. But there is an argument to be made for a little lower number than that, which mainly comes down to the quality of the protein that you are consuming. Because not all protein is the same. Some protein sources are way better than others. Majority of your protein intake should come from high quality protein sources, which means lean meat, eggs, dairy and protein powder if necessary. The protein powder doesn't have to be just whey or casein, it can be an egg protein, soy protein or even pea protein. All of these protein powder options are considered to be high quality protein sources. You want to utilize as many high quality protein sources in your diet as possible. Because as the name suggests, they are of high quality, which means that if you eat for example 20 grams of protein from lean meat, your body will be able to use all of that amount. But that is not the case for other foods like peanuts, wheat products, lentils, rice and all the other similar foods. Basically any food that does not fall under the category of lean meat, eggs, dairy and protein powder is considered to be a protein source of lower quality. Your body will not be able to use the full protein amount of these lower quality proteins. On average, your body will only be able to use roughly 50 to 75% of the total amount of protein in these lower quality protein sources. If you eat 20 grams of protein from peanuts for example, your body will only be able to use a half of that, which is just 10 grams of protein. So you might think that you are getting in 20 grams of protein, but in reality you are getting just a half of that amount. And as I said before, that is because these lower quality protein sources are not complete proteins, which means that your body cannot use their full protein amount. You can imagine it like this. The high quality protein sources have all the essential amino acids in them. That's why they are complete sources of protein. The lower quality protein sources might also have all the essential amino acids, but some of them will be in very small quantities or they will be just straight up missing. So yeah, I went on this long tangent about quality of protein just to tell you if you should consume 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight or if you should consume a little lower amount like 0.7 or 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But trust me, I had to explain this to you because it's very important. If the protein in your diet is basically only from high quality protein sources, then you can easily get away with a lesser amount of protein like 0.7 or 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. And that's because all the protein that you consume will 100% be utilized by your body. But if your diet consists of a lot of lower quality proteins, then you should definitely go with 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Because as you learned here today, the lower quality protein sources will not be fully utilized by your body. Your body will only use 50 to 75% of the protein amount and then use the rest of it as energy. That's why you need to consume more protein when you are on a diet that consists of a lot of lower quality protein sources. Because you need to make up for the protein amount that will be thrown out by your body. So the conclusion is, if you eat a lot of high quality protein sources, then you can get away with eating less protein. But if your diet is heavily reliant on lower quality protein sources, then you need a higher amount of protein to compensate for it. Alright, now that you know how much protein you should consume, let's take a look at how to distribute that amount throughout the day. It's very important that you distribute your daily protein intake relatively evenly throughout the day. Because every time you feed your body a good amount of protein, which is at least 20 to 30 grams, then you give your body an opportunity to build more muscle. And we want as many of those opportunities as we can get. And if you ate all of your protein for the day in just one meal, then you would completely miss out on all the opportunities for muscle growth. And that's the exact opposite of what you want. Remember that day when you ate 150 grams of protein in one gigantic meal, thinking that you would be set for the whole day? Well, turns out that you were horribly wrong. But I forgive you. It's alright. Just don't do it again. Okay? Good. From now on, you will remember why it's important to always split your meals throughout the day. Now I will show you an example of how you can split your daily protein intake so you can visualize it a little bit better. Let's say that you weigh 160 pounds and you want to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That would be 160 grams of protein per day. For the best results, you should split this protein amount between 3 to 6 meals. Any number of meals in this range will be completely fine. Just go with the number of meals that fits your schedule the best and that you enjoy the most. Once you know how many meals per day you want to eat, you will divide your daily protein intake with the number of meals you chose. So if your daily protein intake is 160 grams for example, and you want to eat 4 meals per day, then that would equal to 40 grams of protein in each meal. But don't worry, you don't need to have exactly 40 grams of protein in each meal for example. You can play around with it a little bit. So you can for example have it like this and still be completely okay. What matters the most is that you space out your meals and that you don't skip any of them. Alright, now let's talk about protein powder, because there seems to be a lot of confusion about it, especially for beginners. The most common misconception is that you can't build muscle without protein powder, which is just ridiculous. Protein powder is a supplement, which means that it's here to supplement your diet if you are not able to get enough protein just from food, which means that you can get super jacked without ever consuming a single scoop of protein powder. Protein powder should be seen as a very useful tool. It allows you to make various high protein recipes, like overnight oats for example. And it might be handy when you are in a rush and you need to quickly get in some protein, but it should definitely not be seen as a must buy. Buying protein powder will for sure make your life a lot easier, but it's definitely not required. I think that the only exception is if you are vegan. In that case, protein powder is as close to a must buy as it gets. Just because it's really hard to get enough protein from only plant-based foods. So in that case, vegan protein powder will quite literally be a lifesaver. You are lucky that it's not like 2012 anymore, because back then all the vegan protein powders tasted so bad that you would rather eat mud. And that's not an over-exaggeration, that is really how bad it used to be. But nowadays you can get some really well-tasting vegan protein powders, which is great. To sum it all up, I will just say this. If you are still not sure if you should buy protein powder or not, my recommendation would be to do it, at least once. Then you can experiment with different recipes and try out the convenience of having a big chunk of protein ready whenever you might need it. Maybe you will end up liking it, or maybe you will realize that it's not something that you need in your life. That's up to you to explore. Well, that's all you need to know about protein. And if you are interested in leveling up your nutrition game, check out the cutting, bulking and maintenance guides on my website. And don't forget about the Simplified Hub, where you can learn everything about bodybuilding for absolutely free. So what are you waiting for? It's just that simple. And as always, a big thanks to all the supporters on my Patreon. Did you like this video? Then you will for sure like this one too.